Okay, so XML HTTP request, we can also call it AJAX, XML, asynchronous JavaScript XML. Okay. Um, so the fetch API is also asynchronous way of communication. XML HTTP also provides the XML asynchronous way of communication. But prior to XML HTTP request or prior to AJAX, the JavaScript was only or mainly being used for validating the front end. Okay, submit the form, the way of the way of getting information on the page or submitting the information from the page to network was only way of submitting the form. And then submitting the form or even clicking on any link for getting even small set of data, the entire page has to be refreshed. Okay, so then in the beginning of year 2000, XML HTTP request was launched, um, uh, and the term called Ajax got quite popular. And with the help of, so what happened is that with the concept of Ajax or XML HTTP request, we don't need to submit the entire form. Okay, we don't. The form submission was not required, so refreshing the entire page was not required. Only the portion of page or wherever just the data we can get without refreshing the page, or data we can submit even without refreshing the page. Okay, it was quite popular, and based on this Ajax, lot of JavaScript framework were created, and from here the JavaScript started getting structured. This is very interesting to know. Prior to this concept, prior to this Ajax concept, JavaScript was uh, underestimated. Okay, most of the developers said they deny to work on JavaScript. They feel proud, I am a backend developer. Uh, so and it was very difficult to handle even. That's a fact. Okay, so what happened in the industry because of this Ajax? Lot of JavaScript started being used in the application very heavily. So as it started using heavily, it started means people, the developer or industry realized that okay, JavaScript needs to be uh, more structured. We need to write the JavaScript code more structured. I'll tell you, I know I have worked even in those days. So I know developer used to take not at all seriously the JavaScript functions. They used to name, very casually the function of JavaScript. They used to write very casually. These days, where the JavaScript has reached. It is being close to be object-oriented programming. Okay, which is not absolutely true, but yes. So this uh, the term Ajax or the use of Ajax heavily get gave a new life to JavaScript. Okay, industry started using heavily, and when industry started using it heavily, they started correcting it. They started taking it seriously, and when the developers started learning it how to write JavaScript code in an elegant way, and from there the journey of JavaScript, the new life of JavaScript started, and then the Node.js came and added some feature related to IO and network. Um, so after that, the JavaScript is what it is today. So we talked about the XML, the role of the XML HTTP request in the life of uh, JavaScript, but due that the XML HTTP request is based on callback, it ultimately becomes complex in an enterprise application when you have to when it goes to nested. Okay, and that is being called what we call callback hell. That becomes callback hell. If you I already have made a video on this callback hell concept, you can see that. So JavaScript become popular, and this is the part of modern development, modern web development. So implementing, the problem with the XML HTTP request was it was complex. Its implementation was complex, and then if anything become complex, it required a correction. Okay, so that's why industry was thinking something about some alternative solution about this XML HTTP request. And also you can see the snippet of code for a developer, you know, either it's a new developer or even experienced developer. It's a lot of things you need to remember. It's how to implement an Ajax or how to implement Ajax XML HTTP request. You need to remember something. Okay, you see this. First, you need to make an object. Okay, so first we need to make an object of XML HTTP request. Then you need to, and this is just a GET request. Okay, then you need to provide, and you need to remember, what is the first API. I mean, first parameter is it a method or it is a URL? And in first place, you have to remember, okay, what I need to call, what was the method to make a call. I'm not saying being a developer you have to remember so many things, but when it is to remember so many things, it's not good. Okay. After that, you have to remember this mm, block of code. There are multiple state, and based on the state, you have to write your logic. And when you have to do something, a nested call, it becomes else. And you see this here. We are ultimately sending it here. Okay. So it was even complex to learn. And one more problem was that uh, in order to this XML HTTP request does not support the CORS, cross origin request, right? So in order to allow that, you will need to make a change on your server in order to support that call to the cross origin. Okay, so that is a reason we got the fetch API. Okay, fetch API in the JavaScript. Okay, so let's move to the next slide.